Hello Dogs fans, welcome to another episode of After the Dogs Roar for season 2017. This is the Western Bulldogs only show dedicated to all you wonderful members, supporters and fans. Here's what's coming up on the show today. I'm going to get stuck into having a look at our round 8 encounter via the West Coast Eagles. Looking forward to having a look back at that game. My votes from that game for the After the Dogs Roar Best and Fairest award will follow the overview of our round 8 clash. A look at where we stand on the AFL Ladder follows, and then an overview of our VFL round 5 clash v Port Melbourne. It was a massive top of the table clash on Saturday. Looking forward to overviewing that game. A look at where we stand on the VFL ladder after that, and then a preview to our up and coming VFL and AFL encounters against the Geelong Cats before finishing off the show with the fan favourite segment. I really enjoy this segment, and that is the 5 fan questions. Looking forward to getting into that segment at the back end of the episode, but time now to get stuck into our round 8 clash v the Eagles. So in round 8 we were back on the Friday night stage. We were back in Domain Stadium in Perth, where we were about a month ago when we travelled over there to take on the Fremantle Dockers. That was actually our first loss of the season that night. It was on a Saturday night, and of course we were attempting to travel back over to Domain Stadium to beat the Eagles for the second time in a row. Of course we did beat the Eagles at their home ground last year in the Elimination Final. It's fair to say things probably didn't get off to the best of starts. We were down at quarter time by 16 points. I thought we got off to a slow sort of start. The Eagles had a 4-2-26 lead to us 1-4-10. Half-time we were down by a few goals, 8-6-54 the Eagles to the Dogs, 5-7-37. So we were behind the whole way through the first half, and it did continue in the third term because we were down at three-quarter time, 9-10-64 to the Dogs, 6-11-47. You can see there 11 behinds, or here there, sorry, 11 behinds. We had at three-quarter time to 6 goals. Probably not good enough, to be honest. We needed to be putting away shots, especially if we're going to win this game. We did restrict the Eagles to no goals in the fourth term, to 5 behinds. We did kick a couple of goals to put ourselves back in it, but it wasn't enough. We lost the match by 8 points, and the Eagles were just a little bit too strong in the end. The final score being the West Coast Eagles 9-15-69 defeated the Western Bulldogs 8-13-61. Just a few little concerns for me coming out of this game. I felt like throughout the whole match we were playing catch-up footy. Just the style of the game was quite low scoring, and it just seemed like we were catching up. Even though we got, within a couple of goals at one stage, it seemed like we were playing catch-up footy throughout the entire night. We didn't get in front for the entire match, and that's why we've lost by 8 points. Sorry. More behinds than goals. Again, you know how I feel about that. Not really good. Although the Eagles did miss quite a few shots as well. So then you could kind of argue that maybe the Eagles would have won by more if they were able to put their shots away. I know Kennedy missed a few easy ones. Probably the biggest thing for me though, and this is the area where we probably lost the game for me, is the inside 50s. We had 50 inside 50s. That is 3 more than what the Eagles had. They had 47, and we weren't able to get much from those inside 50s. It felt like a majority of the time we were getting an inside 50, nothing was coming of it, and so that's what we need to do to, you know, win games, especially away from home against good opposition. This is what we need to be doing. We need to be driving it inside 50, getting it inside 50, and getting efficiency from our inside 50s, and that's something we probably didn't have enough of on Friday night against the Eagles. So yeah, look, that's some things that I took away from the game. You know, we moved the ball okay sometimes. There was some parts where we weren't, you know, we were kicking it long and it wasn't really going anywhere. Redpath was quite good as well, by the way. I was really happy with his return. But on now to the goal kickers. So the goal kickers for us, Redpath, as I mentioned, he kicked 3. He was outstanding for me anyway. I thought he had a good return, a very successful return. Webb kicked 2, Adams, McLean and Wood kicked singles. It was a very low scoring game, so not many goal kickers there. And then the best players for us were Daniel McRae, John Bontempelli, Dalehouse and Redpath. No injuries to speak about, which is absolutely fantastic for once. And just under 39,000 there at Domain Stadium in Perth. So that's my assessment of our round 8 encounter against the West Coast Eagles. And look, we were in the match, but it just felt like we were playing catch-up footy throughout the entire night. And like I said, the big thing for me is the inside 50s. Didn't get much efficiency when we were going inside 50 on Friday night, and that was probably where we probably lost the game, in my opinion. Okay, time now to get stuck into my round 8 votes for the After the Dogs Raw Best and Fairest Award. Let's start with my 1 vote. It has gone to Jack Redpath. Could be a bit controversial, but I actually think he was deserving of at least 1 vote because I thought he had a really good comeback. It went so successfully, and he kicked 3 goals, 1 behind. He got 10 marks, 88 fantasy points. I thought he was pretty good, and he looked really good when he was marking the ball. So Jack Redpath, 1 vote for me. The 2 votes goes to Jack McRae. I thought he had a really good game, in my opinion. He gave it 32 disposals, 24 handballs, 8 kicks. Only the 4 marks and the 4 tackles, but I thought he had a really good game. 102 fantasy points, probably. He was definitely one of the best out there, no question about that, and that's why he gets 2 votes for me. And then the 3 votes goes to Caleb Daniel. Best on ground for the Dogs for me, 30 disposals, 17 handballs, 13 kicks, 101 fantasy points. It felt like every time we got the ball, it was one of those players where every time he'd get the ball, you'd say, geez, he's had a good game tonight, Daniels. He's gotten a lot of the ball. He's popping up everywhere. He was fantastic. And we remember a few weeks ago, he was in the VFL. Well, he's come back and played some fantastic football. So there you have it. That's my votes for the After the Dogs Raw Best and Fairest Award. I've given 1 vote to Jack Redpath, 2 votes to McRae, and 3 votes to the little man, Caleb Daniel. Okay, quick look at the After the Dogs Raw Best and Fairest leaderboard. Marcus Bontempelli currently leads with 11 votes, just like last week. Luke Dalehouse stays second with 8 votes. Lockie Hunter is third with 6 votes. Caleb Daniel fourth with 5 votes. Fifth is Jack McRae on 4 votes. Sixth is Jason Johannesson on 3 votes. And then joint 7th on 2 votes each is Lin Jong, Matthew Suckling, and also Toby McLean. Joint 10th on 1 vote each is Tom Liberatore, Liam Picken, Jake Stringer, Zane Cordy, and Jack Redpath. So that is the leaderboard for the After the Dogs Raw Best and Fairest Award. Okay, time now to have a look at where we stand on the AFL ladder after round 8, and you can see there that we have dropped to 8th position. We're on joint points with Port Adelaide, Geelong, St Kilda, Richmond and Fremantle, but you can see there the 4 teams that I read out that are above us have a better percentage, but we're joint with them on 20 points each. We do take on the Geelong Cats, who are 5th, but they have lost their last 3. after being 5-0. You can see there the Adelaide Crows, they have lost their last two. How remarkable is that after what was a fantastic start to the season? The Giants there at second, West Coast third, rounding out the top three there. But we're 8th on the ladder after round 8, and of course we will be trying to get the win this week to rise up the ladder again. Okay, time now to get into our round 5 VFL clash. It was first v third on Saturday at Northport Oval. Port Melbourne were first, and of course we were third going into this game. This was always going to be a really, really good game. Started off that way early at quarter time. Our mob, the Footscray Bulldogs, held a 3-1-19 to 2-2-14 lead. At halftime, we actually had a pretty solid lead, an 8-point lead at halftime, 6-3-39 to 7-5-47. We led again at three-quarter time. So we led at every change in this match, in every one of the breaks in this match. 10-5-65 Port Melbourne to Footscray, 10-8-68. But however, we let ourselves down in the last quarter. We kept ourselves with Port Melbourne, but they were able to steer away, put the accelerator on in the end, and win, I guess, comfortably in the end. Although this was a very good game of football on Saturday Arvo, there's no question about that. The final score being Port Melbourne 17-10, 112, defeated the Footscray Bulldogs 12-9. 81. The goal kickers, Panyani kicked 2, Honeychurch also kicked 2, and Jay Shea kicked 2 as well. Jordan Roughhead returned to the VFL side. He'll probably get a gig this week, there's no question about that. He kicked a single, and also getting a single as well was Malinga McHugh, Jamison Hayes, Campbell, and also Gowers. The best players were Tehexi Beckwith, who looks like he's having a solid run with the Footscray Bulldogs at the moment. Russell, Honeychurch, Gowers, Wallace, and Jamison. So there you have it. That is the VFL result. There we lose our second game of the season. Of course, we lost our first to the Box Hill Hawks, and our 5th game we've dropped points here by losing to Port Melbourne. But Jordan Roughhead, it looks like he had a good game or a solid game on Saturday. I reckon we need him back in the side. It's no question about that. Our ruck, for me, is a problem, I reckon. I think our ruck situation is a little bit of a problem, and we need Jordan Roughhead back as soon as possible, so he should come in this week. And good to see Honeychurch, and also, as I mentioned before, Tehexi Beckwith playing well as well. He looks like he's playing solid. Mitch Wallace as well. It's worth mentioning him as well. He got the best players again for I think the 3rd time in a row now, the 3rd week in a row since he's been back playing for the VFL side and playing football. Surely a game this week at Simmons Stadium, I reckon. He's definitely in the mix. He was in the mix last week, but I think he's even deeper in the mix this week. So yeah, there you go. We lose our second game to Port Melbourne. It's our second loss in our 5th game, and it's time now to head over and look at the ladder, the VFL ladder after round 5. So Port Melbourne sit atop of the table, undefeated with 5 wins to their name. We have dropped from 3rd to 6th. We are joint on 12 points with Williamstown and Werribee, but of course Williamstown has the better percentage, and of course we take on Geelong this week in our round 6 VFL encounter. That game on Saturday, and they are currently 10th on the ladder with 2 wins and 3 losses. So there you have it. We currently sit 6th on the VFL ladder after round 5, sorry. And on to our VFL round 6 encounter, which is going to be played on Saturday the 20th of May. It's against Geelong at Victoria University Whitten Oval, our home ground, starting at 2:10 p.m, and very lucky to have this game on Channel 7, which, by the way, if for those who are living interstate like me and don't know, you can actually watch this game on 7+. Just type in the Victoria postcode and away you go. You can watch the game. It has to be on the internet, but you can watch the VFL game from the comfort of your own home, and not miss a minute of our VFL side's action against the Geelong Cats. Looking forward to seeing how we go. Of course, it's always good to see how the AFL listed players are developing in the VFL, and yeah, it should be a good match. Let's hope we can bounce back after that loss to Port Melbourne on Saturday. So just rephrasing, this game at 2:10 p.m. on Saturday at Victoria University, Wheaton Oval against Geelong. And time now to get into our AFL Round 9 encounter. We are heading down back to the Friday night stage and heading down to Simmons Stadium on Friday night, Friday the 19th of May, 7:50 p.m. We're taking on Geelong, and you can watch this game on 7 and Fox Footy. Really looking forward to this match on Friday night. Of course, Geelong have lost their last 3 matches. This could be their 4th loss if we were to beat them. There's a lot of stats going in their favour, though, in the fact that we haven't beaten them since 2009. We haven't beaten them at the Cattery since 2003, and it's also worth mentioning as well. This is their chance to actually show off their new look Simmons Stadium, so their new look home. So. A big game, this one, and I'm confident that we can actually beat the Cats the way they've been going. And comparing them to us at the moment, I think we're playing a lot better than them. It's no question about that. It's just a matter of like I mentioned before, efficiency inside 50 and being able to plug those easy ones away and not missing shots all the time. That's what we need to do, and also pressure is the key as well. So look, I'm confident we can go down to Simmons Stadium and beat Geelong. They haven't been in great form, but it's not going to be easy. It is going to be a challenge because we haven't won there for so long. So this game on Friday night, 7:50 p.m. at Simmons Stadium. Looking forward to this game on Friday night. It is going to be a cracker. Okay, time now for the 5 fan questions. This is the fan favourite segment. You know how it works. I have picked the best 5 questions. Let's get straight into having a look at them now. And I start with Ivan, who asks, do you think Wallace will make the team this week? Yes, I think he will. He should. He has had 3 solid weeks in the VFL. He looks like he hasn't missed a beat. He's ready for this. He'll make a good contribution if he's picked in the side for Friday night. And I am looking forward to hopefully watching him back on Friday night when we take on the Cats. I'm hoping that he gets picked. I reckon he will. He, like I said, has had 3 solid weeks in the VFL. Matt Button asks an interesting question. He says, we haven't beaten Geelong since 2009. What will need to change to turn that around? Very hard question, because the last 2 years we've most certainly improved out of sight. There's no question about that. And yet we still haven't been able to beat the Cats. It's a hard one. It's a tricky question, this one. Look, I just think we need to focus on not so much the past losses, but more the fact that our recent form and what we can do to improve ourselves ready for this game. It is going to be a big task going down to Simmons Stadium, and we're going to find it hard, I reckon. But I think I'm confident that we're playing well enough. Even though we didn't get the result last week against the Giants, I feel like we're playing well enough to be able to beat the Cats. In terms of what needs to change, I'm not really sure. I'm very stuck on this question. It's a very hard one. And look, I'm interested to know what your opinion is, Matt, because I reckon your opinion would be a very good one. So, look, I'm looking forward to this Friday night's game, and let's hope we can beat Geelong. Just cross out that big streak that they have had against us since 2009. Jenny's asked a similar question. She asks, we haven't beaten Geelong in Geelong since 2003. Do they have such dominance at their home ground? Good point. Yep, they haven't lost to us at Simmons Stadium since 2003. I think they do have a bit of dominance at Simmons, although we have seen the last couple of years they've actually been beaten there. I think Melbourne beat them. I'm not sure what their recent loss was there. I can't really recall off the top of my head, but I know that Fremantle, of course, beat them in a final one time as well. They are beatable there. They can be beaten at their home ground of Simmons. However, they do have a good... It's a really good base for them, because they do dominate, and they do hold a really good record there. It's no question about that. They don't lose often. So they don't lose often there at Simmons Stadium. In fact, I think the last time they lost, I think, was the Swans last year. Didn't the Swans beat them there last year? I'm not too sure. This is just guessing at the moment. But I think they do have dominance at their home ground, but they have lost in recent years. They are beatable there. And look, they've lost their last 3 as well. So they're going to be very vulnerable, I reckon. And if we can, if we can improve on last week and get our efficiency right and do all the things that we can do, we can beat Geelong, I reckon. But I think they do have a dominance at home. It's no question about that. Red WB asks, with Cloak, Morris, Dixon, Murphy, Wallace and Roughhead all likely to be available for selection, do fans believe our selection committee should ring the changes or stick with our youth? I think we need to gradually work them back into the side. I think it's definitely likely that Wallace, Murphy and Roughhead will come back in this week. Dixon might come in as well this week, possibly. We want Morris back in our side. He's a top-notch defender, so if he's right this week, he should come back in as well. Roughhead we definitely need in our side because I think we're having some ruck issues at the moment. I'm not really liking the midfielders taking the ruck. I think we definitely need a dominant kind of, ruckman, if you know what I mean. But and Cloak's an interesting one because I think with Redpath in the side now and Tom Boyd, I think it's going to be hard to fit him in. But yeah, look, I think if the youth is playing well, we stick with youth. I think, however, though, we need to slowly kind of gradually just bring back the players that we know we need, and then the others just kind of try and fit them in as we go along each and every week. Because look, it's hard to bring back a bunch of players when you've got other players playing well and you haven't got anyone to drop. So look, I think we should stick with youth if they're playing well, but if these players are right and ready, like Wallace I think is ready, and Roughhead we definitely need a zap, and Dixon would be a fantastic inclusion into our forward line, but they need to be ready. They need to be ready, and that's the thing. Final question, Melton Bogan asks a very funny question, but yet a serious one as well. Should Dangerfield be tagged, or would forum members support my plan to ambush him pre-game in the car park? Well, look, by all means do that because he's a fantastic player. He is the Brownlow medalist of 2016, and he will be a player that we need to watch on Friday night. There's no question about that. And look, I think Greenwood tagged Selwood a couple of weeks ago, so maybe we should tag Dangerfield. It's an interesting one, and he's going to be a player that we definitely need to watch because he's one of Geelong's important players. And when he's up and Selwood is up, they win. That's what it seems like anyway. And that is it for After the Dogs Roar, episode 16. Thank you very much for watching this week's episode. Of course, don't forget to like, comment and share this video, subscribe, and keep up to date with a new episode of this each and every week up until our last game of season 2017. Of course, don't forget to like the Facebook page where I do my live streaming. That is facebook.com/The Bev Show, live streaming Monday. Every Monday night at 8:45 PM local time, Melbourne time that is. So go on over and like that Facebook page. Thank you very much for watching. Let's hope we break the hoodoo against the Cats on Friday night and get the win, bounce back from that loss against the Eagles last week. So until next time, I'm Jacob. Go Dogs.